It's a dangerous thing.
The first rule of Fight Club is...
You ever seen a grown man naked?
I will kill you.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Just been revoked.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Lone Star.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Jin, whatever I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
So, welcome to me and Declan's podcast, because we thought there wasn't any podcasts at all that talked about Star Wars. So, we did go to see the new movie. Went to see Rogue One.
I need to put a disclaimer on this. Disclaimer being, I didn't hate this movie.
But people are going to think you did.
People are absolutely going to think
I hated the
I'm
movie.
about to shit on it. It's so frustrating, this movie. I like it, but at the same time, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's hard to define as well, because it's not an average movie, because the bad bits are too bad. But it's also not an average movie because the good bits are too good.
Yeah, true. It was mixed.
It's got
mixed bag.
It's good and bad, not average, because it's two extremes. Like, the bad stuff is bloody horrible. It's laughable, literally, because
Bloody horrible.
we went and saw it with like 6 other people, and we were laughing.
Oh,
at
yeah,
serious
exactly.
moments. You shouldn't. That's not what should be happening.
Exactly. Which we'll get into, like, say, because we're going to do 10 minutes of non-spoilers. And
Yeah,
then,
we'll do a bit of. We can have mild spoilers.
Mild
until then,
spoilers,
that should
yeah.
be fine.
But yeah, for me, like, everything, it's conflicting, because everything that that was good about this movie was, like, the commercial elements of it. Like, I think, like, when they weren't, when it was something that was entirely made on the computer, that stuff was really good. Like, you know, the ending scenes and stuff.
Except for Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh, yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin, the G-Moff.
Yes,
Because the script was really weak. And, in fact, the characters, like, there's one... In fact, I've already forgotten everyone's name. And I only knew, like, one character's name.
Yeah, well, I know there's Jin. There's Ginny, Ginny
true.
Weasley. She's
Ginny Weasley. But before we start pissing people off, the things we liked.
Okay. What was good? What was good about this movie? So it's a dark take on Star Wars and the Star Wars universe, and that has been, you know, the expanded universe is been a thing for forever, and it's dark. It's very dark. You know, a lot of the books, they're just like brutal, like absolutely brutal, and it's really good and it's fitting.
See, Declan's you're more of a Star Wars fan. You know the extended universe, like the books and things, and
to an extent, yes.
and I've kind of just
to an extended universe.
gone off the
I'll
movies.
cut that. Yeah.
You fucking nerd.
So yeah, it can be done and it can work, and in a lot of cases in this movie, it did work. In a lot of cases, it didn't.
Yeah.
But no, there are a lot of sequences and concepts in this film that I really liked. I liked that there were rebel terrorists. Rebel terrorists is not something you would expect in a Disney movie. And I'm very glad, because, I mean, I've heard a lot of people saying about this that they didn't take risks. They were playing it too safe.
No, I think one of the biggest risks they took was they added more complexity to the rebels, like, because I was saying I was a big buff of resistance films. So, like, basically I'd watch World War II resistance films. A lot of them filmed during World War II, and made by the people who were actually in the resistance. Like, a big, really influential one's called Army of Shadows, and in that movie they do very questionable things. And in this movie, the rebellion do very questionable things, and to not spoil it. Basically, in those films, that's what happened, and that's what actually happened in the Resistance, was that sometimes you need somebody to kill people to, even though that they didn't deserve it, but just because either you or them, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like in this movie, which people, a lot of people say is way too dark for Star Wars, but I think it added some complexity, which is cool.
Yeah, I like that, and I liked without getting into spoilers.
Which I already did a bit then.
No, it's fine. There are very dark turns. It's not just like, I mean, it looks gritty and everything, but and this is something from opening 15 minutes, mild spoiler, the supporting actor guy, accent man.
I don't think we know any of the
Spanish
names
accent
anyway.
man.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
The dude, So in the opening, like when you're first introduced to his character, he shoots his friend, question mark, the dude that was there, he shoots that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And because, he's like, oh, you're not going to get away. Oh, I can't get away without my leg. And he's like, oh, yeah, so it's going to be all right, man. And shoots him. And I was like, that's cool, because that's the protagonist. You're looking at the protagonist, and he just did that. And this is Star Wars, and that's something
you could argue that, I mean, they already had that. I mean, he was killing for a cause, but you could argue that in, like, Han Solo was just, like, did that too before they changed it.
Yeah, true. But this was like
this was for a cause. This was complex.
Yeah, I liked the way they did that, and yeah, I mean that's probably my favorite part about this movie was that whole concept, and that it was so
the resistance sort of part of it, like being depicted with a bit more nuance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, well, I mean, there are other things. I think that there was some really good action sequences, like some very, very good action sequences. Like there's a fight scene, dude with the stick, blind monk man. He has a really good opening fight scene. They never use him again in any kind of interesting way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He just kind of continues doing that stuff. But
that standalone, that scene was really good. And then I'll also remember, not really spoilers, at the end, there are some big walkie dudes. What are they called? The AT-ATs?
I just call them the camels.
The camels? The camels show up.
The big metal camels.
The camels show up, and it's done in a really cool way. They keep the camera really low.
So it is to make it look scarier. Yeah.
And it's like so intimidating, and it's really well executed.
It is. And I think that whole kind of sequence, when they had like basically all the battle scenes, they felt like because like in the previous Star Wars movies, basically they would just run because the stormtroopers were so terrible at shooting, or all the droids were just like Roger, Roger, and they're just like shoot, and they're terrible and they're flying everywhere. But in this one, like you kind of see like all the troops getting wasted. They feel like they're actual soldiers because they're like it actually feels like, and there's lots of explosions going on, which people are comparing, like they say, oh, this is a war movie. Which I kind of actually enjoyed that. It added tension because it feels like if one of the main characters stood up, as much as stood up, they were gone. Like, no, it very well executed. Added tension, which some people have a criticism with. They say, oh, it's too serious to bring into a movie about space wizards.
A nice, it is a sci-fi samurai movie. Okay, so I think we've talked enough about the positives. I don't know any more positives.
Oh, yeah, true. Let's start ripping it.
They'll come to me later. Let's get into why this movie, why it fucking sucks, why it's the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life.
I gotta say straight off the bat, like, if someone who doesn't care about Star Wars at all, which I don't know why they'd be listening to this if they don't, but like,
they might pity us.
I think they had the script would have been weak. They would have been like, had no idea what was going on. And the things I really liked about it is that, I'll get into this bit when spoilers happen, is a lot of the stuff tied in really neatly to I think the other prequels didn't really set anything up very well, while this one feels like it actually tied and added stuff to the movies that people actually liked.
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire. We think you might be able to help us.
When was the last time you were in contact with your father?
What is this?
My biggest problem with this movie was the script. And I think most people's biggest problem with the movie is the script.
There's not one line that was coherent in the movie.
So the basic idea of this whole thing is that we know how it ends. You know how it ends before you go in because it's a prequel.
Yeah.
And it's going to end pretty much. It ends and then the next one starts. Like, that's this prequel. This prequel is just like bang, bang. That's how they set it up. And so it's like the only way to make it tense, the only way to add tension in the bits that aren't, war scenes is to make us care about the characters. If we don't care about the characters, we don't care at all because we don't care about the story. We already know the story. We need to care about the characters.
Yeah, and we didn't.
Well, the biggest telling of how we didn't care about the characters was that
we don't know their names.
We came out of the movie and we were like, hey, that guy, the one with the hair? I've got a little list of notes here. I had to write down one of the person's names because I wanted to praise that actor, but I didn't know the character's name. And I went on IMDb to find this name. And I struggled because not only did I not know his name, I didn't know anyone else's. I had to click through all of the names because I didn't know anyone's name and I had to find it. It was actually a difficult thing to do. So, the characters
and I think there's a reason for that.
So
not a good reason.
First off, the lead, Felicity Jones.
Yeah, played Jin.
Jin?
Qui-Gon Jin? Are they related?
Chinny Chin Jin.
Ginny.
She was boring. She was flat.
Like
she didn't also like her. I'm not saying she's.
I liked Ray from.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she's a bad actor, but she didn't have a good script, and she didn't elevate the poor lines by being amazing. I mean, when I'm thinking about, okay, so the character's name is Krennic, Orson Krennic. He was the guy with the white hair who was yelling at the CGI Grand Moff Tarkin all the time, and he.
The guy that's like, give me credit.
He was at the start. Yeah. He was the one at the start who was like, "Hi, I'm the Imperial Man. I'm here to steal your children." Setting him up as, I think this is the bad guy.
It was kind of useless though for a bad guy.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I kind of liked that he was a little bit slimy.
And so his character didn't have any kind of arc or anything. He was just the bad guy, but he was like, he wanted to be higher up.
And we might as well get straight into spoilers.
Yeah, well, I mean that was pretty much his whole character was that. Which it's not that interesting, but he is an actor. He did that brilliantly. I really cared about that character, and I don't know why. I think it's just because he was acted really well. It was very good casting, and he performed the role really well.
I liked his performance. It was one of the few things I liked the movie, although it was kind of anticlimactic at the end.
Yes. Well, actually, I disagree there, but that's okay. But the her as a character was just, I mean, when you compare her to Rey, and you think Rey had an arc. She not only was a more interesting character herself, but she did have an arc as she kind of went through these things. She's got an interesting backstory. It's like kind of a mystery. You know, it's a good character. And you think about Finn. So he definitely has an arc, and he has an interesting backstory and all these things. And then you get to her. Her backstory was she got taken away from her dad. I'm done.
Yeah, but
that's the story. She gets taken away from
her mum got killed, so it was just like...
Oh, that happened as well.
So they at least they're like, okay, they have a grudge.
I actually forgot that happened. This is great.
Yeah,
exactly. I completely forgot.
It happened in literally the first 30 seconds. And I was just to reiterate, we are deep into spoiler territory now.
Yeah, okay.
This is happening.
And so Forrest Whitaker,
Robot Man.
In my opinion... So Forrest Whitaker is the big black man with the breathing thing, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
robot legs. RoboCop. Yeah. Okay. So RoboCop, his acting. So Forrest Whitaker's acting as RoboCop was, in one of the worst performances. I think. I don't know how.
Like this for no reason.
Everything was. Like he was a theatre actor. Like he was doing the theatre version of I was about to say Force Awakens too.
That's coming.
Yeah,
surely.
And I hated him. I thought he was boring. I didn't understand his character really. I know he snatched her up. So the dad was like, wait in the hole, and then he finds her, and then she runs away or something. And then it's kind of they come back together. And they have their whole emotional back and forth, and I'm like, I don't know any of these characters. Yeah. I don't know their backstories. I don't know what happened in between. I don't care what happened in between. That did nothing for me because
it's a big thing as well. Is that about that character as well? There's a reason he's in the movie. So I heard this, I read on this, but basically I agree. I didn't care much for this guy, for RoboCop at all. But the reason apparently he's in the cartoon. And so they wanted to shoehorn him into the movie. Oh. Which is why he's in there.
So I didn't care for his character. I didn't care for that whole thing. I didn't care. The relationship between her and her dad was supposed to be the driving force. Because if the characters are going to drive the movie, which they have to in this case, and she's the lead, and that's like half the film is her trying to find the dad, I just didn't give a shit. I didn't care at all. I was so bored for the first hour of this movie.
Oh, yeah. And...
everyone who watched it with us was so bored for the first hour of this movie.
And that's the thing that baffles me is that this movie was slow. It was like really slow paced, but at the start, and you talked about how I said there's a reason for why there's we didn't know any of the characters, we didn't have any idea who they were. It's because the establishing scenes were like rushed through in 20 seconds and like really jump cut from one cut to one, and it was so jarring. And then the movie goes for like 2 hours, 20 minutes, I think. And it baffled me that it was so there was so many things happening at the start. They rushed in that they actually didn't properly cover them, and then went so slow that nothing was happening.
There were a lot of characters. When you consider that none of them got any time, there was no in depth on any of the characters. Like having it's quality, not quantity, and they had plenty of not fleshed out characters.
Like who remembers the machine gun long hair dude?
Machine gun long hair, yes.
Yeah.
Friend of Blind Monk Man.
Yeah, and that's I think I've got a suspicion here that what they were doing was Guardians of the Galaxy was a massive success. And,
yes, this is true.
And they're like, oh, that was a spin-off of our main Marvel movies. We're going to spin off. What are we going to do? Why don't we make an ensemble of, or try to make them likable characters who try to accomplish this thing, and it accompanies the rest of the movies. And we try to make it fun, and they crack jokes and stuff. But I think that's what they were going for, but they didn't. I don't think they necessarily pulled it off.
If my father built this thing, we need to find him.
All right. How many do I need?
They are requesting a call sign.
It's, Rogue. Rogue One.
And then, okay, so the next main problem are the tonal issues with this film. So obviously it's very dark. It's a very dark tone. And they kept fucking with it. They kept breaking that in ways that was so obvious and jarring and painful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, fan service in this movie is 50% of the film. And
some of it I thought was good fan service.
Yeah,
some of it was just like, oh, there's C-3PO.
I mean, they relied on it very heavily, but if you ignore the ones that were done badly, I think it's okay. If you think about, just they replicated that shot from the rebel base with the rebel dude pointing the gun at the ship as it comes down, except he's not pointing the gun, the ship's flying away, but you see that, you recognize it, you're like, that's a nice, like, homage.
Yeah, and thing was, he didn't even like when I was sneaking off. He wasn't even pointing the gun at him. It was like, talk about sleeping at the job. What do they pay for it? They pay him for.
But yeah, so the fan service is a huge part. The majority of the fan service, it just took the tone and it just threw it out the window. Darth Vader, you know where I'm going with this. Like I said, we laughed a lot at this movie, not in the points when they were trying to be funny.
It wasn't supposed to be funny.
It was not supposed to be funny. Darth Vader, like, there were a lot of one-liners. Unfortunately, there were a lot of one-liners.
It felt almost like an 80s movie.
Darth Vader, this is very telling. This is not the only example, but this is probably the best example. Darth Vader. We all know Darth Vader. If you don't, you're not listening to this.
Yeah.
So he...
Who's he?
He chokes the dude. He chokes Krennic. Orson Krennic.
Yeah.
Mr. McGee.
The Mr. McGee.
Sorry, no one's going to get that.
Joke.
Yeah, so he chokes him, and what is he, like a lieutenant or something? And he like chokes him, and he drops down, and then he's like, don't. I'm not going to attempt to do it.
I'll give it a shot. He's like, don't choke on your ambitions. And it's like, we just started laughing because Darth Vader would never do that.
Darth Vader would make a pun. None was a joke.
The dude is angsty as shit.
He's like, my suit is constantly abrading. It's poking me with pins and injecting chemicals into my bloodstream. I'm in constant pain and agony.
Of pure anger, yeah.
And I'm just like, owned.
I've had a fun. It's just so out of there. And speaking of the completely out of their scenes, there was like, what's it called? This is one of our problems with the script. Is there's one, we talk about the blind monk dude. One of his lines is like, "I'm one with the Force is with me," and he just keeps saying that over and over again.
Yes.
And then, so he's basically very mystic. He's about the Force, which I thought was okay, but they overdid it.
Yeah, probably a little bit was overdone. It's a good concept.
Yeah, it's a good concept. I was like, oh, cool, they brought the space magic back. But but yeah, they and there's one scene where they just walk in and they're completely talking about something completely unrelated, and he just yells, "The Force is strong." And it's just so jarring.
I want to replicate the way he said it without having to put on a rather racist impression of this guy, but I can't. I know that it didn't matter. What he said didn't matter as a throwaway line. You could take it out; it wouldn't have made any difference in that conversation they were having. I don't know if anyone replied because I was too busy laughing. I couldn't hear, and even if I could hear, I was too busy laughing because, okay, I'll just give it an attempt. He was like,
The Force is strong.
You racist
I
piece of
know,
shit.
I know. God, it's 2016.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of the 50s.
He said that, and it was just laughs. That was not a funny line. It was not supposed to be a funny line, but it was just so ridiculous. And no one
it was
cool to it. And another very good example of a line like that, which was just, it wasn't like out of place tonally. It was just dumb.
Is this when they're arguing?
Yes.
Oh yes, we're thinking the same thing.
Felicity Jones, Chinny Jin, is doing her speech. She's doing a stupid, corny, bullshit speech about how we all need to work together as a team and fight the Empire or whatever. And so there's a crowd of them. They're kind of disagreement, kind of agreement. All going against each other. Yeah. And one dude is like, "What is this girl proposing?"
Let the girl speak. I was just like, you could tell it's one of those Krill-looking dudes. Like,
there's two Admiral Akbars, and they're both yelling, and it was...
Man, that guy was itching for a fight. He would take anyone.
God.
He was just like, he was keen to get in. It sounded like he was angry and confused, and he didn't actually know what they were talking about.
He really didn't understand. He wasn't arguing. He just didn't get it. And that was everyone in the crowd too. They're like, seriously, what? We were all feeling this guy. Maybe that's why they put him in there, so the fans have someone to relate to finally. Because there's no other characters we can understand.
Exactly, because we're all thinking, what is she proposing? Because you think, like, what's it called? There was all these families behind us who were, they still enjoy life and they're not as jaded. No, I'm joking.
And there are a lot of kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're like...
I liked The Phantom Menace when I was little, so I understand kids liking this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And basically they were just like, they just viewed it as, yeah, good guys, love the robot. And, to those kind of people, this movie's probably really great. Like, honestly, could recommend it for those kind of people, but...
Especially if you're a big Star Wars fan and you don't care about characters. Because this movie is so it's just fan service.
Yeah, but I think it linked up really well with A New Hope. Because, I say this because I know your favourite is Empire Strikes Back and my favourite's A New Hope.
Yes.
Because I feel like New Hope is just, it begins it really well and then it just ends it really well. But one of the things that people always criticize about it is like, oh, why they make this stupid hole that you shoot in it and it blows up?
Yeah.
And then they explain that. And I was like, oh, really cool. That kind of puts that kind of patches over something that and also it's like kind of wondering where you got these plans from. And I think tonally it fitted. The prequels felt like they were completely different universe to what the originals were in, but this one felt like it was in the same universe, and I kind of appreciated that. But it was slightly different, but it all linked up. And so for that reason, I felt like if you were like a massive Star Wars nerd, then you'll probably find something like in this movie to be like, it kind of adds to things. But if you don't care about Star Wars, then like this movie's not going to do much for you.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you do care about Star Wars, you might hate this movie even more.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going into it. Is like there's so much potential, and the fact that so much of it was so good that it was so close to being good. It's just, I mean, say they kept in all the stupid fan service, they kept in RoboCop, and they
good on RoboCop.
They kept in the dumb one-liners, the bad acting. If the script was strong, I could have looked past that.
Yeah, it would have been incredible. If it was a good movie on its own merit instead of people getting nostalgia for shit.
Yeah.
Then it would have been a home run.
Yeah,
And also one scene I really want to talk about was when Darth Vader went down this so basically this like really dark hallway, and everything else that Darth Vader did in this I just hated. But apart this one scene I thought was really cool because it was like it's basically they're in a dark hallway. These guys, the door's shut, it's broken. And then it's in the dark, and then you see the lightsaber come out, and it's like Darth Vader, and he just starts wasting people, just slaughtering them. It's terrifying, and I thought it was awesome because like Darth Vader's imposing, but you never really see him do much in the actual original movies. Yeah. Like that made him like a horror movie villain, and before that he was kind of he looked like he was just sluggish, and he didn't. It was an actor in a suit that didn't really know what he was looking at. Or doing.
I mean, especially in A New Hope in the scene when they're fighting, because
it just looks really.
I mean,
chunky.
You had to break into the series to know what they were doing to get there, and this is like a level of But I
thought that showed him being scary, and I appreciated that. Yeah.
And I really liked the way that was executed because he wasn't just going in and killing people. I wouldn't say that was that was more of a slaughter.
He seemed like a monster in that scene. That was cool.
It was like unrelenting as well. He wasn't like, haha, I'm hurting you and I'm taking great pride in it. He was like
silent.
Yeah. I mean, when it was all in the dark and then he turned on the lightsaber, I was like, all right, I'm okay with that. I wasn't a huge fan just because I'm like, it's a bit like, it's like the hero, like in a Marvel movie, if the dude jumps off and he lands on the floor in that hero stance kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I know, he's strong, he's cool, whatever. But then he starts walking forward and just, like, there's one point where he rips all the weapons out of their hands.
Oh, yeah, I keep saying that. And just, like, jars some guy against the roof.
Yeah, and once they lose their weapons, like, you feel so hopeless watching this. You're like, everyone here is just going to be slaughtered. I really liked the way they did that, and it showed, because Darth Vader, up until now, I've never seen him be scary.
Yeah, exactly, same. And then people talk about him and like, you look at that mask and it's kind of like, he's kind of considered, one of the most intimidating movie villains. Like, on WatchMojo.com's top 10 intimidating villains. But yeah, this actually made him like full on scary, which I appreciated. Because you hear about how evil he is, but he never really does much.
Yeah, he never really showed it. All he did was be a little pussy and wimp out at the end and kill the Emperor. Save his son, because he's a little bitch. Like, all he's done is be an old man in a suit and then be a little bitch. But now you get to see, like, why he was him, or how he got to his position. He is menacing. I mean, it's a bunch of rebels. Obviously, he's going to kill them. I feel like...
But the one thing I thought was interesting is in A New Hope, he sends in all the stormtroopers because he's lazy. And this one, he's just like, I'm going in, boys. Yeah. He just takes out everyone. Like, it just seemed like he was doing the same thing, but differently.
Yeah. And, I mean, I know it's fan service in that it literally ended with him with the ship chasing after the other ship. In a way, that's fan service. But I think that's another way that it was good. It worked.
I think that was cool.
It was fitting. It wasn't distracting. It wasn't bloody C-3PO showing up to do his little one-liney quip in this war movie.
No one tells me anything.
No one tells me anything anymore. Beep, beep. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, go back to the Phantom Menace, you bitch. You don't belong here. Oh no, I'm being racist to the droids. Like, everyone in the Star Wars universe, they're always like, we don't serve your kind here. Get out of my cantina.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know why a droid would want to buy a drink anyway. I mean, unless they sell oil, like, who cares?
Maybe that's why maybe they're not racist. Maybe they're just like, you're taking up space. You're not going to drink anything, you dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. You've got literally have no business here.
They literally said, we don't serve your kind here. Like, yeah, because they don't buy anything.
Yeah, they just sit there.
I wonder if they let gonk droids in though. I'd let no matter what, I'd let gonk droids in.
Exactly.
I don't know what they do.
I'm all for the gonk.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
This movie looked really good.
Oh yeah, especially like that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, you talked about how some of the shots were too close, and we'll talk about it in a sec. But I was just saying, like, everything that was done in CGI was really cool. Like, apart from actually, I can't say that because G-Moff looked like terrible. Leia looked okay.
Leia. She didn't move. Her face didn't move.
Yeah, and that's why
G-Moff Tarkin's face moved too much.
And the thing is, I feel like it got progressively worse as they shine more light on him. Because I feel like, because remember at the start, like when he first appeared, we were like, "Is that an actor?" It was kind of like that.
Yeah, we were like, "Is that CG?"
And then the scene for the rest of it seemed obvious.
So many close-ups on his face.
Yeah, it became obvious, and that's why I think Leia wasn't as obvious, but
yeah, but she also said nothing. Her face didn't move, and
Hope.
Oh god, her line was shit too.
Oh, I was shit.
God, that was so bad. Again, it's
especially considering like George Lucas just retitled it once he made more movies.
Like, if you're going to do war movie, you have to take some of the things that kind of define Star Wars. You can't keep everything. If you're going to do a different take, you need to change things. You can't have those lines because they don't work. They don't work anymore. They don't work. They don't belong here.
Yeah,
like
true.
the droids, they don't belong.
Oh yeah, they don't.
It looks good, except for Gmoff, and
Gmoff. Can't wait for his mixtape.
Except for Gmoff and except for the depth of field.
Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking
because this movie was filmed for 3D, and I know that it won't be this way, but I hope with every fiber of my being that every 3D camera just breaks. We don't know how to fix them. Everyone who knows 3D dies horrifically, and there is no more 3D. Because
what about Avatar?
Fuck off. 3D is a blight on civilization. And watching...
Dude, my dad is not going to be happy with that. He bought 2 3D TVs. Like, 2 of them.
I want to watch the 2D version, and I can't even do that because the 2D version was filmed for 3D. And the thing about... And like, this is really... It's not just with every movie, okay? It's really important in Star Wars. The sets are so important. The universe is so important in Star Wars. It's like in like Blade Runner. If Blade Runner was shot with a shallow depth of field and you didn't see, like, when he's out in the street and he's eating food or whatever, and it's just him and everything's blurred out, you'd be like, well, this is boring. Like, the universe, it's like, it's an experience. And Star Wars is definitely the same way. You need to be able to see the sets and all this stuff, but it's all cut away. You can't see anything. You just see them because it's shot for 3D and the depth of field's all
And yes, I completely agree. And one thing that just really peeved me off was, like, how claustrophobic a lot of the scenes where they, like, you know, the deep scenes were, like, when they're talking, because it's like, it goes really close for no reason, and there's nothing interesting in the background, even though it's Star Wars, and you can always put interest. Although I should be careful saying that, because he just adds a lot. I know George Lucas adds a lot of shit into the background for no reason.
It doesn't need to be there for no reason, but creating a realistic world, creating a realistic universe, that's something the originals did very well.
I mean,
Before... You know, you started adding all the aliens, and you changed the singing aliens to the one with the big little snoot that comes out the mouth, and it's like, wabba jabba jab.
I'm talking shit about my favourite character, man.
Yeah, the universe, the sets, all that, the art design of Star Wars is so iconic, and that needs to stay, and this depth of field really ruined that. It made things seem very claustrophobic.
Yep.
Like, not just that it doesn't fit, but it actually draws away from the environment that's so iconic and necessary in a Star Wars. At this point, after how many Star Wars films there have been, it is very important.
One scene I remember that was really just weird and absurd and there for no reason was like when, you know, the pink, when they got the pink slug thing to drain the memories of this guy who was clearly willing to talk for no reason. RoboCop did it to the pilot guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was...
Tentacle monster.
Yeah, tentacle monster. And the thing was, is it meant to, like, change him as a person, make him weird. But we didn't know who he was beforehand. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the tentacle monster scene was just kind of unnecessary. I mean, when you've got over a 2-hour movie, 2-hour-plus movie, like, why keep that crap in? He bought him the chip, that, like, the USB, galactic USB, that had the message from, let's say it was in a Galen something, the dad...
Farquaad?
Galen Fuckwad?
Galen...
the dad of Jin Fuckwad?
Aaron? Galen...
That was Galen...
What was Jin's last name?
Fuckwad. No.
I don't know.
So, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So it had the message on it.
Yeah.
And so basically, he could have been like, all right, I'll play this. And then it would have been clear that he was a defector. Because I think in the message or something, he said, like, oh, I sent this guy to do it. And they'd be like, oh, okay, there's no reason to tentacle abuse your brain.
I don't need to tentacle porn this man.
Yeah, tentacle porn this brain.
Obviously, he's telling the truth.
I know, because obviously he's telling the truth. And even if he isn't, who cares? Like, I don't need to get any information out of him. He brought it with me. Like, all everything I need.
Nobody had any depth. Nobody mattered. Nobody mattered in this. I liked some of the characters. I thought Blind Monk Man was cool. I thought when he wasn't repeating that stupid force line, I thought he was actually quite it was one of the most likable of the characters on the set. Yeah, I thought he was cool. I thought his fight scene was really good, and how he uses the stick. It was
Ninjas,
a cool way of showing it. So I liked him. I liked Accent Man.
Mustachio.
Yeah, so I liked him just because he was cool. I thought I liked his... I did kind of like his character. There was a bit of depth to him.
True.
He does the thing at the start. He changes his mind about what he's going to do with the rebellion. I thought he was good. And I didn't mind... I like the robot. I didn't really think he was funny.
Yeah.
I just liked him because he was a good example of lightening a dark movie where it still fits without killing the tone. Because when he made a joke, it was a dark joke. It's dark humor. You're going to die. Lol, that would be pretty good for me. Yeah. And everyone's like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, and also the fact that he was like... So everyone expects robots to do whatever they want, but he just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Which is added to his character, yeah.
But I
just did what he wanted.
I liked that it was fitting. I liked that he was the comic relief in a dark movie, but it fit. It wasn't jarring. I that's why I like him. That's pretty much it. I like him. But then every other character was a piece of shit. They were blank. They were like...
What about RoboCop?
Fuck RoboCop. Man, I love RoboCop. The real RoboCop, the movie RoboCop.
But Star Wars RoboCop.
Star Wars RoboCop was... It's just like the remake of RoboCop. It's not good.
And it was like RoboCop 2 starring Forrest Whitaker.
This is RoboCop 2 too. And I didn't like this RoboCop not one bit. Shit. And okay, so another problem with this. There's a stereotypical death scene. Dude or the dudette is holding the dude or the dudette in their arms, and this person is like,
oh yeah, that bit.
I'm dying. I want the. I'm doing that green dude from Phantom Menace.
I'm dead.
And it's like, this is. I'm so sorry. I wasn't there for you. And then, and he dies. And then I'm like, okay, that was pretty average. That didn't really add anything. That was very exposition-y, and it wasn't great. And then they did it again. Two different characters. He's dying, and he's like, oh, it's okay, don't be sad. And he dies. Yeah. I'm like, I just saw this. I saw this before, and it was shit then. It's still bad.
Yeah, except it's really convenient that these people always have just enough life in them to say something before they die. Like, it's not like they ever just get flat out killed. Yeah. It's just like, oh, I'm sitting on the ground. Yeah, and I agree with
can you imagine, we're in spoilers. The dad dies. He gets blowed up, and then he dies.
He gets blowed up.
Can you imagine if the girl runs over, and he's just dead? Yeah. And she didn't get to talk to him. That would be, like...
Complicated. It'd be
honestly,
complicated.
There was no impact in any of this shit. If that had happened, I would have been like, oh, shit. That would suck.
That would suck.
But instead, I'm just like, carries for fuck. What's the point?
Who gives a shit?
Who is this guy? I don't know. How long does this movie have left?
Yeah, I know. I completely.
One of the people we saw this movie with, he got really bored, and he was like, "Oh God, how long is this movie?" And he went to check the runtime. He got out his phone and he went to check the runtime on IMDb. And he got distracted and started looking at how much the movie cost. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. It didn't cost that much. He just went on IMDb and started looking at stuff on the movie while the movie was on. Because he was like, that's shit. I don't care. That's not good.
Because, I mean, as I said, like, as a popcorn movie, like, the family behind us were just like, when like, there's a stereotypical studio audience, they'll be like, when they do say something funny or like...
I mean, we're above them.
They are the betas, really.
Look, I'm not pretentious. I just realised that I'm better than everyone. I mean, I can make a better movie than Ridley Scott. Watch me.
I can do better.
Blade Runner, garbage.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
The way.
The popcorn audience were fans, and but the bit when the robot died, we already said spoilers, but spoilers.
Yes, the robot, he dies.
And then everyone was like, oh, so they clearly like.
Yeah, I heard a kid saying, oh, I didn't want the robot to die. I feel so bad for the kids watching this, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Because, big spoiler, every character dies. You name a character. If they weren't in A New Hope, and they were in this film, they fucking die. And if you're a kid watching that, don't make movies for kids specifically. Dude, they did a really good job.
Cats vs. Dogs was a great film.
I don't care that this isn't for kids, but there were some kids there, and they were getting like real sad. Oh yeah, but that's okay. I don't give a shit. Fuck kids. I hate him.
Rob.
No,
Don't worry.
I do hate him.
Kids are great.
Everyone dies. That's a good thing. I'm glad everyone dies. I mean,
yeah, true. I was having that.
some might say that's cynical of me, but
It's
I'm
a
really
bit
glad.
sadist.
I'm really glad that they all died, because that is something new, and that is something they're kind of trying to. They're not playing it safe in doing that. That's definitely not a way. There are a lot of things in this movie that were playing it safe and sticking to the whole Star Wars thing.
Yeah. But literally everyone in the movie, apart from the people that were in A New Hope dying, was that's a big move.
Then it wasn't, and
they could have easily made him survive and then be like, look who shows up in a cameo in the sequels.
Yeah. But it was just they all died, and it was in a way I really liked it. And one thing, and this might just be like, oh, cool effects, man, this is a fan service. The Death Star is cool. I really liked the Death Star shooting the planets, and then the big waves coming towards the characters really slowly.
Oh, get lasered, douchebags.
Even though I'm pretty sure in the original, I can't really remember. But when the laser shoots the planet, it just goes, it's gone.
Well, all we've got to talk about is Rogue One is a rip-off of 2012.
Fuck off.
That excellent film.
I really liked the Death Star stuff. I thought that was really cool. And then in the end, they all die because the big thing, it shoots the planet, and then the wave starts coming towards them. The two main characters, they're there. They've got Blanky Mick, no character, and Accenty Mick.
Mustachio.
Killman, Mustachio.
Killman.
They're both there. And I was like, please don't let them kiss. Don't let them do that.
Oh, yeah, that was the...
God, do not do this, please. And they didn't. They just like...
Right.
They like hugged each other, and they were just like, we went through this thing together. We die for the cause. That's it.
Yeah, that was fantastic, I think.
Dark, and that's sad, but it's beautiful. And that was something that was really impactful in a movie with no impact. And I really liked that.
Yeah, especially considering, like, well, you can tell when they went for the Darth Vader pun, like the one-liner, you know, the don't choke on your ambitions. These guys had no restraint, but like that scene where they're like, okay, they get together at the end because that happens at every movie. In fact, everyone dies. I thought that was showing restraint to do something different.
Definitely. Like I said at the start of this whole thing, that this is not an average movie because it's too bad to be average and it's too good to be average. This is a good bad movie.
Yeah.
Because there are moments like this which are really impactful and that I love. They look beautiful. It's like very good payoff to very little setup, but very good payoff nonetheless. And then there's also absolute bullshit that was the rest of this movie. It's it's conflicting in itself. This movie is just conflicting. In many ways, it's my favorite Star Wars, and in many ways, it's up there with the prequels. Worse than the prequels in some sense. Even the prequels didn't have lines as corny, other than Jar Jar Binks, lines as corny as there's Anakin. Can we just exclude the Phantom Menace?
The sand.
Even the next.
Like, sand, it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Yeah, but that wasn't corny, that was horrible. That was bad. That wasn't stereotypical movie. That was, what?
I'm so in love with you. And she's like, no, I'm more in love with you. And then he's like, no, I'm more in love with you. But yeah, I actually disagree. I think his script writing wasn't terrific, but it was nowhere near a prequels level.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, the script writing wasn't as bad, but there were moments that were as bad. The Force is strong. Prequel level bad. And don't choke on your ambition. is prequel level bad.
Oh man, it was such a dick slap on the character.
Yeah, but just memorable moments. There are some really, other than all the bad ones, all those Grand Moff Tarkin's face. There are some. I'm gonna remember the AT-ATs coming when the camera was real down low and it was looking up, and the intensity. I'm gonna remember the final scene. I'm gonna remember all the shots of like the Death Star hitting the planet and those waves coming towards them. I thought they were really cool. And then right at the end, when they all die, I'm going to remember that because I thought that was really cool. The terrorist-y stuff, how they start like pulling out guns and they're wearing like, just the rags and they're all like normal people and they like pull out these guns and they start shooting everyone. I'm like, damn, that's...
Declan supports terrorism. You heard it here first,
I
folks.
think it's cool. I just think terrorism is cool. Does that make me a bad person?
Oh, shit.
Does that make me a bad person?
No, I agree in that it makes it more complicated.
Yeah, no.
And especially the fact that they're like, okay, there's this group that's kind of resisting the Empire, and we're resisting the Empire, but we don't get along with them because they're resisting the Empire for different reasons. I thought that was realistic. Like, because if you look at conflicts, there's always multiple different factions and whatnot. I thought that was good.
They tried to make this a much
Not
more
that I approve of
realistic-
terrorism, unlike Declan.
I looked on IMDb, and this movie has an 8.2.
Hmm.
And I'm surprised at the 8.2.
Well, it's got way less on Metacritic.
Oh,
Pretty
that
sure.
would explain that.
Yeah.
I'm worried that the bad response to this movie, and there will be a lot of bad responses to this movie, are going to be that it's a dark take. You can't do dark Star Wars. And so every other Star Wars, there's 4 more left. I don't want them to shy away from darkness and to go for a more extent of that, not just the happy with some dark stuff happening. Go for a kind of gritty, sometimes shit is shit. Sometimes stuff just doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Life is horrible, and we're all here. We all understand life is horrible. I mean, I know we want to escape that when we're watching Star Wars, but I liked the way they've done this, and I'm scared that
they'll
the
shy away
critical
from trying
response
it.
is going to make them just completely shy
Go
away from
goofy.
that.
Go goofy.
When what they need to do, they're going to like overcompensate and go goofy instead of going back to normal. They need to write better scripts.
Yeah,
That's what they need to do, is they need to write better scripts.
But I think at the same time, I think this movie is going to be a massive success, so I think they're going to just stay the course.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, Star Wars is always going to be a success. They can do anything. No matter what, they're going to make their money. It's just a matter of they want to do it right. I mean, they're getting... The whole thing with Force Awakens, getting J.J. Abrams to do it, he was a big Star Wars fan. Whether or not you liked that movie, they were trying. They weren't just trying to make a movie, they were trying to put something into it. So, I mean, they will be looking at the critical response, and I'm just worried they're going to try and appeal to the biggest audience. Yeah. This was kind of taking a risk. It just wasn't executed the way that it should have been, but they might just take that as, oh, we shouldn't do the risk. When the risk was fine, the risk was good, it was new, it was entertaining, and they just...
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. I think if it had a better script, better characters, better pacing, then I think this would have been just a real joy.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
So overall, this movie was disappointing to me. There are a lot of moments that I want to remember and that I'm going to really like, concepts that I'm going to really like in things that I've only been able to read up until now through the expanded universe books, kind of darker look on the Star Wars universe. That definitely works, and I'm happy with it. And at the same time, I'm going to remember sitting in there for like an hour being bored. When is the movie going to happen?
When does it start?
Like, we're an hour in, and they still haven't tried. Like, it's not they spent ages developing the characters, they just spent ages moving the plot forward without developing the characters, and it was just completely flat.
Because the script and the directing and the acting was all subpar.
Yeah, the directing in some cases was really good, and in some cases was really bad. The action scenes were great, and I am assuming this director is like a good action director normally.
And that's probably who they wanted to get.
I don't really know him from other things, but the rest of it didn't really seem to flow. Whether that was his fault or just the script he was working with, I don't know. But,
yeah, true. And I think after Jurassic World made made more money than the entire country of Namibia for a year, they thought, okay, we don't need the critics, we don't need people, we just need we just need to do this thing that everyone wants to see, and I think this movie is going to be a huge success, even the fact that we had problems with it.
Yeah.
But overall, I felt like paying $11 to go and see it.
Yeah.
I thought there's enjoyable scenes in it, so I'm not going to say it was awful to a prequel level.
Yeah.
I think it's in between, and which is fitting because chronologically it's in between the prequels and the original movies.
Yeah.
So and that's what I felt it was in terms of quality.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that Disney continue to try and do new things, because we've got 4 movies left. If they're all the same, I think keep trying to do something different, especially with the spin-off movies. Like, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, true.
Be consistent in episode 7, 8, and 9, but for the spin-off movies, just try to give the viewer something different, but do a better job at it this time.
Give it a shot. Yeah,
just do it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I think that's it. But at the same time, like, I don't think they're going to do that. Like, I got to say, like, because I think with the, like, you look at, like, what's it called? Doctor Strange is exactly the same as Iron Man. Like, who knows? Let's see where they go from here. But from on, we might be there to comment. Who knows? We might be dead.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So yes, sometime in the future, right? This is a little trailer. We're going to talk about Ender's Game.
Oh yes.
Because I'm going to make us talk about Ender's Game, and you will like. I'm not sure how big you are into Star Wars. I don't think you're as much into as I am.
No. I mean, enjoy the movies, but like.
If you read the book of Ender's Game and then you watch the movie of Ender's Game, you will feel the disappointment that I felt when I both watched Ender's Game and watched this movie. Because I've read the Expanded Universe books, I know what this can be, and I know what it came out as. It's that kind of disappointment. And Harrison Ford is in Ender's Game.
Yeah.
It's Han Solo. So there you go. It all comes together. What a brilliant way to wrap up. I've been Declan. I haven't said didn't say my name at the start.
I am Julian. Oh, I said your name. I care about you more than you do.
Oh, well, that's not hard. Thank you for listening, you fucking idiots.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Talking to me?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
She took a giant shit on my face. Literally.
Literally?
Not literally.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.